I'm your biggest fan. You're my biggest fan. We're all biggest fans. No, actually, what we're going to talk about today is fans, because it's summertime in England. Well, that means the rain is warm. But the trouble with that is it means that the rooms get warm as well, even though they're muggy. So what most people do is they use fans. Now, because of the cost of living crisis just recently, a lot of people have been saying, oh, I don't think I can afford to run the fans. And I've had two people say that to me in all seriousness. So I thought I'd do a quick, let's have a look, see what's what about fans. If you can afford to buy one, can you afford to run it? Should you? What's the point of them, and where do we go? Let's have a look. I think fans are great, but you have to remember that they don't actually cool you down. All they do is blow the warm air around, which makes you feel cooler, which is okay. Now, looking at here, these are ceiling fans. These are the best fans to use because they can be there all the time, and you can see there they've got different fittings. You can have lights in them and all sorts of things like that. And I'll tell you what, they are really, really effective, but not a lot of people have them. Certainly not in the UK anyway, but they are getting there. Now, if you go to somewhere like Cyprus or Spain, you'll find quite a lot of these, and presumably in southern states of America. But in the UK, we've always been, it tends to be cold in the UK, so we've never used them. But what we have got is we've got desk fans and pedestal fans. So this is a pedestal fan. These are nice and simple there. 54 quid, 65 quid for one with the remote control, and you can get them for as little as 18 quid there. Well, are they any good? Yes. Do they do the job? Yes. Are they expensive to run? Well, let's have a look and I'll tell you. We can work it out in a couple of seconds. But you'll also find that a lot of people have what they could sort of like consider to be a traditional fan, which is the type that you put on your desk. The small ones, more like that one there. But anyway, you can see there's hundreds of different fans. That's one of the things. And floor fans are very good because they sit on the floor. They're very sturdy and you can have a big motor in them. And because they're on the floor, they blow the cold air around, and it doesn't get in your face, but it does get around your feet. Are they better than other fans? Well, yes and no. So very powerful, really stir the air up. Very common in places like garages and whatever. But you can use them domestically. We've got one. And because it's got a very powerful motor, it really does move the air around. Compare it to a pedestal fan. Well, those are less powerful, but they have the pedestal, makes it a higher level, so you can get direct blow from a pedestal fan. Compare it to a ceiling fan, and the ceiling fan, well, I'll talk about ceiling fans a little bit later on, so that you know exactly where we're coming from. In fact, I'll talk about them all on a side-by-side basis, but that's what we're looking at here, fans. And so what we'll do now is we'll have a look at the cost of actually running the fans, and then I'll run through a brief why you might want to use one over another, other than the fact that's what you happen to have when you decided to look for a fan. In the UK, normally you can get any type of fan you want, except when it's warm, in which case you can only get what the shop's got down the road, and it's what nobody else wanted. But that's a different story. Anyway, there's lots of different desk fans there, and as you can see, there are loads and loads and loads. So there's as many fans as you can think of, handheld fans and all the rest of it. But we'll have a look and see what's the cost of them. Battery-operated fans, they're going to cost a lot of money because of the batteries. But let's see what the mains plugged-in fans cost. As at the time of making this video, the cost of electricity in the UK is 24.5 pence per kilowatt hour. In 3 of the rooms in our house, we've got fans like this, and they're very good. They're relatively cheap. This is the Amazon listing for it, and you can see here that I've ordered 2 on this account. And there's the actual specifications for it. It says you can have a 60-watt bulb, and that the motor is 50 watts. What it doesn't tell you on there is that it's 3-speed, and so the 50 watts is when it's on full speed, and it's really stirring some. So this is a calculator, and we're going to work out how much these things are going to cost. So the fan we've just been looking at is a 50-watt fan. So how do we work out how much that's going to cost to run? Let's start with 1,000, because what we're talking about is that electricity is sold in thousands of watts. So if we have 1,000 watts, and then we decide that we're going to run this fan, which is a 50-watt fan, so it's going to be, how much is it going to be? So we divide that by 50, because that's how much the wattage is. watts divided by watts is keeping everything right. So it's 1/20th of a kilowatt. So if we take the cost of a kilowatt, which is 24.5 pence, and we divide that by 20, because that's how much we're going to use, a 20th of it, it works out at 1.225. That's 1.225 pence per hour. That's running it flat out, stirring the air as hard as it can. And believe me, that fan really does shove some air around. So that's that one. Let's have a look at another one then. So we've seen that the floor standing fans can be quite big, and some of those have got 120 watt motors in them. So let's hit the clear, and we go for 1000. We divide it by 120, because that's the wattage on full power, which equals, so it comes up with 8.33. So what we've got to do now is take the 24.5, so 24.5, and we divide that by 8.33. So we divide that by 8.33, and that equals, boom, 2.94. So basically that one's going to cost us just on 3 pence an hour to run at full speed. Okay, so let's have a look. The average pedestal fan is around about 50 watts. No, sorry, 55 watts. So we know what a 50 watts is going to cost. Let's try with 55 watts then. So same maths. Let's clear it off. 1000 divided by 55, which is a big pedestal fan, that equals 18.18. So now all we got to do is say 24.5 divided by 18.18 equals, boom, 1.34. So if we're going to round that up, it's going to be 1.4 pence per hour. 1.4 pence per hour. That's not bad, is it? Okay, so the only other sizes we've got are smaller. It's all going to be less. And the thing to remember is that these numbers are real. They are what it will actually cost, not including standing charges and stuff like that, because you've got to pay them anyway. But the cost to actually have the thing running is going to be that sort of money. We're talking about 1.34. If you want to round that up, that's 1.4 pence per hour on full blow. That's as fast as that fan's going to go. Very rarely are you going to be running it that fast. Not when you're sitting in the room. You might do to get the air moving initially, but no, you're not going to be sitting in it in front of it, because nothing's going to stay still. You know, it's going to be like being in a wind tunnel. So there you have it. It's not a lot of money to run these fans, not like people think it is. If you're looking at the most powerful fan as being 3 pence an hour on full blast, and all the rest are less than that. So 1.5 pence around about there for the normal pedestal and desk fans. It's small amounts of money compared to what people think it's going to be. It's not for me to tell you whether you can afford it or not, but you know, it's going to have a cooling effect on you, because that's what fans do. Remember that fans will not actually cool the room down, they just stir the air up. But if it makes you feel more comfortable, it must be worth doing. Anyway, that's it. I shall leave that with you. Thank you very much for watching. If you've got anything from this, maybe you'd like to subscribe and maybe click on a like and all the rest of it, pass the video around, and I'll try and catch you another time. Thank you very much. Bye bye.